You may have heard of the Appalachian Trail in the United States or the Camino Del Santiago in Spain. These are two of the great walking trails in the world. But did you ever hear about the Israel Trail? It goes all the way from Israel's northern border to the south in Eilat on the Red Sea. Recently, I talked with someone who walked that trail and wrote a book describing his odyssey. Okay, Aryeh Green, great to be with you here in Sataf with a beautiful background behind us.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Chris.
You've written a book called My Israel Trail, Finding Peace in the Promised Land. Why did you write the book? I
hiked the Israel Trail, 600 miles from the south of Israel on the Red Sea, the Gulf of Eilat, up to the border with Lebanon, through these Jerusalem hills. And I hiked it in 8 weeks, all alone, with a 50-pound pack on my back at age 51. And I hiked it following a very difficult, traumatic period in my life, getting over my divorce. And the hike itself and the lessons I learned on the hike, the physical lessons of learning how to do this sort of a trek, which I had never done before, helped me to move on with my life. It suddenly occurred to me that maybe some of these things that I had learned, while there weren't necessarily any great discoveries, but putting them together in a certain way, that it helped me to meet the challenges that I was facing, might be of interest to others and might be able to help others facing their own personal challenges. That's when I decided to write the book, and I also wanted to share the experience. I mean, it's just the phenomenal, exhilarating experience of walking the land of Israel is something that I would imagine many people who are interested in Israel perhaps have never been able to visit or always wanted to, or even if they've visited, they've never necessarily walked the land.
For those that love Israel and appreciate Israel, how would you describe what it's like to walk the land from north to south?
First of all, that's what I wrote the book for, to describe all of the unique features of hiking the land. But the truth is, nothing compares to hiking the land of Israel. And this is true for me as a Jew, walking literally in the footsteps of our prophets, walking step by step, kilometer by kilometer, mile by mile through our ancestral homeland was for me an incredible way of connecting with our people, our history, our land, and the people that I met actually on the trail and our shared destiny. And it's true, I think, Christian or otherwise, other people who have a connection to the land of Israel where Jesus walked could also feel the same.
So 42 days, 600 miles. You spent a lot of time by yourself, and what was that whole experience like to be on the biblical trail, the land of the patriarchs as well?
It's a funny combination. I was getting over my divorce. First 3 weeks in the desert, when literally you're not just all alone, but you're surrounded by almost nothingness, as it were. It leaves a lot of time for contemplation, for reflection, and it was very healing.
Yeah. There are a lot of places, people in the Bible that were alone in the desert. I think Moses was one. Jesus certainly was one. And I think a lot of people could identify with a crisis that you went through. What were the lessons that you learned when you were there on the trail?
Well, one of them is that humility, that sense of modesty, acknowledging our place in the universe. Another one was a great sense of acceptance. Another aspect of the lessons that I learned was forgiveness. Forgiveness of myself, of the mistakes I had made in my life, in the relationship. Forgiveness of my former wife, of course, for the decision that she took. Gratitude was another. Appreciating the amazingly beautiful things that we have in our life. So grateful to my children and my friends and the rest of my family for the support they gave me through this difficult time, but also just in general, how lucky I am to have the friends and the family that I have. Incredible gratitude to be able to be living in this miraculous age of the return of our Jewish people to our ancestral homeland and being part of this experience in the renewed sovereignty of the Jews here. There was so much that I had to be grateful for. Every day I was grateful for the experience of being able to hike the land of Israel. I started every day with our traditional Jewish prayer upon waking, Modeh ani lifanecha. I am thankful before you, God, for all of the miracles in my life. And I would not just say this in my prayers in the morning, but it would be the first song that I sang as I started to walk with my 50-pound pack. Did I mention I had a 50-pound pack on my back?
You did. For those that are going to be reading this book, what do you want for them to take after they read this book?
Well, I would say, first of all, come and hike the Israel Trail. Not everybody can take 2 months off of work and enjoy 42 days of hiking alone. But if you come to Israel, or if you're visiting and you're doing the normal tourist things which everybody does and which make sense and which are important, take a half a day or take a day and hike parts of the Israel Trail. So the first thing I would want somebody taking away from my book is, having enjoyed the vicarious experience of walking vicariously with me through the land, to have an appreciation for the beauty of Israel and the history and our connection to it. And hopefully that would lead to a desire to visit.
Well, Aryeh Green, great to be with you, and thanks for writing such a book and being vulnerable and opening your heart and putting it down here on paper so people can enjoy the experience and learn from the lessons. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Chris.